Hi, I'm Demby, and I help take the mystery out of perimenopause and midlife, putting the healing power back in your hands. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to connect with your yes and your no. Because in midlife, the rite of passage that we label perimenopause and also afterwards beyond in menopause, often comes down to an issue of self-trust. How connected a woman actually is to her intuition, her inner knowing. And in my experience for myself, as well as working with people for over 2 decades, how deep that connection is to their ancestral power as well. So if there's a lot of unresolved wounding in the lineage, then that gets carried forward. That's actually what we inherit from our mother's and our father's line. And then how we deal with that when these challenges come up in life, which they invariably do, particularly at certain junctures in our life. So the big ones for women are when we start to bleed, when we become mothers, and then we finish our bleed and we move into magehood towards becoming an elder. So a lot of things change, obviously hormonally, physically, at those points during those junctures. But a lot of stuff also happens emotionally, mentally, and particularly energetically. And that's where I come in. That's where I focus my work on, helping women remember just how powerful they are and what it feels like to be connected to their intuition, their inner tuition. So everything on this realm essentially gravitates or is connected to consent, what we give permission for ourselves to experience, to receive, to experience, to integrate, and then to release. So one of the first things, especially for women, is to learn to listen to the wisdom of their own body. And we don't even have to do anything with those messages. It's just even that first step of recognizing that symptoms, particularly during perimenopause, are actually messengers. They are there to teach us something about ourselves. Something is out of whack on some level, especially if these ailments continue going from acute into chronic territory over many years. There's something that we are doing, either consciously or unconsciously, and often in my experience it's a blend of both, to perpetuate stories around not being enough, not being deserving and worthy, not having time, not having reached our goals, all sorts of consciousnesses there and belief systems woven in, depending on each individual, of course. So tuning in to listen to your body, because the body never lies. Quite often the mind does, the ego certainly does as well. And that's not to say that all parts of the ego are bad. There are good aspects of it, of course. But if we're not in a space of self-trust and we're willing to listen to ourselves, then we're not going to be able to create the space there to develop this skill of receptivity, of reciprocity within ourselves. And then, of course, that will extend out with others. If we can't listen to ourselves and be compassionate and patient and loving with ourselves, it's going to be a bit more of a challenge for us to do that with other people, whether that's in our family or in our work situation or just culturally and socially in general. So a big part of this is obviously establishing a connection to your breath, noticing how you are breathing. Now, we obviously are all breathing during the day when we're walking around. We don't think of that consciously, but we all have a particular breath rhythm. We're either inhalers or exhalers, as I often explain to my students. The inhale is about a willingness to receive, to engage, and the exhale is about surrendering and letting go. And quite often, a lot of us find ourselves sort of stuck somewhere in the middle. We don't want to take things on, or we take on too much, but we don't know what to do with that. Or if we're afraid of letting go, for example, because we don't know if we're going to have something good come in to replace that, to replenish that. Or we let go of too much, and so our container is always empty and we're never fulfilled or nourished. So the breath is a big part of that. It's about receiving infinite consciousness, essentially. When you think what the breath actually is and how long that etheric dynamic has been around for eons and eons, the intelligence that's available to us when we engage with the breath is really quite mind-blowing. So noticing how you're breathing is about the quality, the texture, the sound, the temperature nuances, the pace of your breath. And it's as simple as pausing, closing your eyes, and breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you may notice also that one nostril is a little bit more congested than the other. And that relates to, of course, the hemispheres of the brain, how the warming and the cooling aspects of your body, of your meridian pathways, is functioning, how that's showing up each day, as well as what you may be holding on to or not able to release. The masculine being the right side, the feminine being the left side. There's lots of different layers. I can cover all that in another video if you want me to. But for now, knowing that if you just pause, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths down into the belly, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and allow yourself to receive. That's a gateway into connecting to your body, to your tissues, your fascia, your cells, your organs, all layers of your mind and your energetic field as well. And when you use the breath in this way, then the sensations will become the feedback using the breath, and you'll be more likely to be present and feel still and calm enough to witness and receive whatever your body tells you without going into, if it's been a pattern for you in the past, for example, into panic or anxiety or just shutting down altogether. So there's a really simple self-kinegetic practice that you can do to determine what is a yes, a body yes and a body no for you. And it's literally just standing with your feet slightly apart, arms down by the sides. And you can close the eyes for this if you wish to, and come into your breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And you can either hold something, for example, a piece of fruit or some sort of food item that you're considering buying and unsure if that's what your body needs, or you can visualize something or someone or an opportunity, for example, and allow that memory to come through. And if you lean forwards towards the food or the memory, the vision that you have, that's a yes, because we're moving forwards. It's a step in the right direction. It's moving out of the present and going into the future. If it's a leaning back or a tilt or a complete collapse through the legs, that's usually a no. It's either drawing you back into the past, which may be beneficial, so you can pause there and take a couple of extra breaths and just keep asking your body, because you may go forwards and backwards a few times before you get this practice down pat. Or that may be a very definite no, like I don't want to go back into the past, or that feels like it's dragging me back into patterns, for example, or old ways of being that I'm trying to break free of to move forwards. So simple, feet hip width apart, close the eyes, 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, hold the thing that you want to test or visualize it, and notice if you go forwards or backwards. And the good thing about this practice is when you get really good at it, you'll be able to just think of something in the moment and you'll get that vibration moving through your cells. So this is about, again, cultivating self-trust and anchoring that in the body. So the next point is, of course, grounding, making sure that you are in your body, of course, before you're going out of it. That makes sense, like putting the roots down from the tree before all the branches and the fruit and the leaves can flourish. So you can jump on the spot a few times, you can swing and move your arms around, you can do some yoga postures if you like, you can take some deep breaths. Anything that feels like it's shifting your dynamic or your energy in the moment is really useful just before you do a body test for a yes or a no. And you can also do that afterwards, just sort of shake things off if you like, and then move through in your day. Now, some people do get a really obvious sensation straight off the bat. So don't worry if this takes a bit of practice for you. Everybody is different. And sensations that feel good are usually a yes. Ones that might feel sharp or you get an ache or a pain. It can also come with an emotion, like you suddenly feel like you're just really heavy, that you've got some sort of anxiety or stress coming back into the mind. That would be a no as well. So as I said before, the more time that you devote to this practice every day, then it will just become automatic for you. It'll become like second nature, which is really first nature anyway. Obviously, don't test yourself if you're on heavy medications or have been drinking alcohol or taking any sort of other, recreational or pharmaceutical product. That's going to dull your senses and also leave an imprint, a corruption vibration in your energy field, which will have an effect on how clear a signal you get from your body. And the last part is to encourage you to always listen, but also obey. Take action on the signals that your body gives you. Even if it feels like a little bit scary, even if you feel a little bit anxious about, taking a new path, for example, or trying something that you would never normally do before, whether that's a new food or just, an avenue of work or just some other sort of creative expression or in relation to relationship, whatever it is. Take action on what your body tells you. When we don't do that, it's a suppressive energy. And then that dynamic gets packed away somewhere in the cells and the organs, usually in the womb and the breast tissue, anywhere in your body, in the layers of the mind as well, in your energy field, which then has the potential to develop into dis-ease, a sense of ill ease, not being at ease down the track. So always take action, aligned action. Once you're grounded, once you're in your breath, once you've listened to your body, when you've tested yes or no, then respect that inner self, that wise one, and take action, even if it's just a small action in each moment or each day or every couple of days. You'll get your feet with this. You'll develop your own relationship with yourself on a different level if you practice this regularly. And the best thing about all of this, about knowing yourself and obviously having a gauge, an internal gauge of what is right or not right for you, this takes you organically, automatically onto the sovereign path where you will no longer be willing to sacrifice your health, your truth, your needs and your wants, your voice to any external authority. You will always be the one that calls the shots and that gives consent or retains that, because you now know what it feels like when you don't listen to yourself and the consequences that come with self-denial and essentially giving your power away to someone else. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.